Hey, so I played a bunch of stuff there. I don't know how much of that got cut out, but a lot of false starts and stops. Um, is what it is. I guess first playing in the morning, so we're all a bit rusty. Uh, I took I took notes of kind of some things I wanted to talk about, and my screen went black, so I gotta pick it up again. Ah, there's a few things. One is I'm playing back at church again this weekend, and we recently went through and and moved a bunch of stuff around. Right, moved the drums around. We have like a rack of I think they're preamps, um, and we had had kind of bad sound before. Not terrible, right, but not great. And um, I had thought I thought we had signal loss in the cables. They were super long, and for example, I could mic an amp, and I would have to literally dime that thing in order for them to get a good signal at the board, and I just knew something was wrong. I have this Supro Delta King 10. It's got a little 10-inch speaker in it. It is amazing. It's a great amp, but because it's small and the wattage is kind of low, I don't know what the wattage is, 15 maybe. Um, the hotter it gets, the more distorted it gets, which sounds great, but then you can't get cleans out of it. So I tried to use that, and I couldn't. It just had to be so loud to get a signal at the board that it was unusable for some parts because I couldn't get any cleans out of it. So that's about the time I gave up and went digital. I'm like, I'm just going to plug directly into the board. Um, Fast forward, we redid a bunch of stuff and unplugged a bunch of stuff in that preamp rack. I think that's what it's called. I'm pretty sure it is. Um, and now the signal is super clear. So now everything that I learned, everything that I learned about that sound system and how to get a good sound and a good mix out of that system seems to not work anymore. So I'm happy that it's super clear. Everything is really clear and much louder than it used to be before. So, and I think that's probably due to the clarity. So you got to bring a lot of things down. But now I have to relearn how to mix. So I always had to run my amp cleaner than I normally would because because of the way the system was. They'd have to turn the gain way up at the board, which dirtied my sound. So I had to go cleaner than I wanted to. Yada yada yada. So we have that. Um, and I always it was darker. So now the way I set it up, it's much brighter than it was before, and a lot of my lead tones are just too bright. I have to like roll back on my tone or something. So I have to work on that, and I also have to work on how to mix things. I found a system where I would set I think I talked about this already, but I would set my main volume at unity and then bring my guitar up somewhere where unity and then slowly bring things up. But now it's too loud when I do that, so I gotta like lower things down. So tomorrow, when I get there, I'm going to do what I think we all should do: zero everything out, get me set, and then start to bring things up to see if I can get a good mix. It really is a good problem to have, but um, but I have to figure out how to get a good mix. I gotta keep, and we're playing some songs that have some weird rhythms in them, so I need to be able to hear everyone around me to make sure that I'm locked in with them. Um, so I have to pull an ear out, which is fine, but I have to do that in order to hear everybody. So that's a good problem to have. So I'll be working on that tomorrow. Um, See if I can get it locked in. Maybe I can learn. Maybe I'll learn something that I can share. I don't know. Another thing I noticed. So I play at church. I play out sometimes, not as much as I'd like to, but a lot of times I play at church, and I've noticed something, and I don't know if it's just basically economies of scale because there's so many out there. But I watch a lot of Nashville videos about guitar players, and I don't want to go to Nashville. I don't think I'm going to be a rock star or country star. I just enjoy it because those are things that I'm into. And I've on more than one occasion I've heard them mention church players that play at their church every week and talk about building boards for them and doing things of that nature. And I thought it was kind of cool that depending on where you are, you might look down on church players, but some of the songs are easy, but some are not. There's some tricky stuff there, and you can learn a lot from playing at a church about how to play with other people, how to play in a band setting, people with different skill levels, just a lot of things. So all that to say, I think it's kind of cool that they get recognized in the music capital of the world as real players, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They don't seem to get looked down as much there as they might in other places. And depending where you are and how much you put into it, it's it can be complex and fun. I don't think we should get paid. I think it's strictly a volunteer thing. I think you should do it because of your faith and because you just love music. That's that. One more thing before I get into the topic of today. I had the idea to go and look at FRFR cabinets. And if you don't know what that is, I'm going to mess this up. It's flat response something something. And basically it's essentially a PA, right? So digital pedals, you can run that into it and it kind of acts like an amp, right? It's about this size. And it has a speaker in it, and it's supposed to not color the sound because you have it colored already from your pedal or your multi-effects board or whatever you're using to get your digital sound. It's supposed to just replicate what's coming out of that board. And I started looking at them, and I thought they were going to be a couple $100. Well, they're not. They're the price of an amp. They're $600, $700, $800 for something like this. I could go buy a Blues Junior. This was, I think, $700 or $800. And for me, I can't wrap my head around why I would do that in place of buying an amp. So if I pay $700, $700 for an FRFR speaker, and then I pay another, let's just use the UA pedals, $400 for a UA pedal, I'm well over $1,000. And then if I have a quad cortex, then I'm well over that. Now I get that you can get different sounds out of that speaker, but you could do the same thing with a cabinet head. If that's your thing, that's cool. But I kind of thought that might be the thing that I was missing with digital where sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, but I just come out of studio monitors and it doesn't feel the same. And I thought, oh, well, that would feel the same, and maybe I would like that. That doesn't seem to be the case. I can't wrap my head around. And I'll keep looking. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong things. Maybe the little like wedges that have the little 8-inch speaker. Maybe those are not, because these things say they're like 1,000 watts. I don't understand. And maybe it's just because I like amps. I don't know. I don't see a reason why I would buy that and run all that cabling when I could just sit down and plug into the amp, turn it on. Okay. Let me check. I think that's it. I need to start leaving this thing awake or forcing it to stay awake or whatever. Yep. All right. So here's something that always confused me. Is this chord C sharp or D flat? And it's a joke, right? Is this C or is it B sharp? Right? We'll go back to this chord though. D flat or C sharp? And I did a bunch of reading on that, I just like to know things, and I couldn't find anything. It's just online. You just get a bunch of people that are making snarky comments, right? That don't really mean anything. It's just they're just being jerks. That's the truth. So I thought, in my own head, I came up with the idea. Well, it probably depends on which direction you're going. So if I'm playing a B flat here, C here, and let's see. I don't even think that's the right chords. We'll just do power chords. B flat, C, and that would be C sharp because that's the direction I'm going. That's what I thought. If I was going E, then I would call that D flat. That's not right. So how it was explained to me by someone, and I don't know if this is right either, but it sounds right to me, is that you call that sharp or flat based on the key you're in, so that when you see the notes on the staff, it's clear what they are. Example, D is a D, E, F sharp, right? E, E, F sharp, G, A, B, F sharp, D. This is you have a sharp right here, right? This is the C sharp into the D. If this were D flat, okay, and you put a D is on your sheet music, you don't know which D it is, right? You either have to put a flat symbol by there, which you can, or a natural symbol by here, rather than just saying this is always D, because there's no other D in this key. C sharp, on the other hand, C is not in the key of D, so this would become sharp, because every time you see C, it would be a sharp versus not. Okay? That makes a lot of sense to me. So key of G, which only has one sharp and flat in it, that's the F. That's always F sharp. If it were G flat, you would have to do what I talked about. You'd have to put the natural or the flat symbol next to the note on the staff to indicate what it is. So if you don't read music, this probably doesn't mean a whole lot to you, but it does make sense if you know your scales, right? And you know that G major only has one G in it. It can't have a G flat. It only has one of each note, not including accidentals, right? So let me show you some sheet music to kind of show you what I mean. Even if you don't read sheet music, I think you might be able to kind of grasp what I'm showing you. All right. Let me put my guitar down. Ooh. All right. So right here, see, it has one sharp up there. And if we remember our circle of fifths, we know one sharp is G. So that is an F. All right, because the lines, go back to school. Um, the lines on the staff from bottom to top, every good boy does fine. So that's an F at the very top. The spaces are face, F-A-C-E. So the very top of that is F, right? So that's F sharp. So every time there's an F note, let's see if I can find one. I don't see. Aha! Here, right there, is an F. But notice it has the, oops, right there. I don't know if that's, it has a natural symbol because of the F sharp thing. So it has an F in there, which would make it Mixolydian. So he's calling that out because in that key, that's a sharp. So you run into the collision where you have the natural note and the accidental in the same piece of music. You default to the accidental, but you have to call out the natural when it's a natural. And you may not know how to read music, and that may be confusing. But as far as I can tell, that is the best way to determine if it is one note or the other when it could be a flat or a sharp. I'm trying to think of another case. No, I think that's it. I don't know how accurate that is. Maybe somebody knows more about that than I do. Would enlighten me. I would love that. But that's what I know. So if it's in the key and it's going to collide with another note, then you default to the other note that is not in the key. That's it. That's all I got. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend. And see you later.